In the 1930s, Germany began rebuilding its navy, the Kriegsmarine, openly defying the strict limitations imposed by the Treaty of Versailles after World War I. This bold move signaled a dramatic shift in European naval power, as Germany sought to reclaim its place as a maritime force to be reckoned with. German naval architects and engineers set to work designing a new generation of battleships, determined to challenge the long-standing supremacy of the British Royal Navy. These designs were not just technical blueprints, they were statements of intent, reflecting Germany's ambition to rewrite the balance of power at sea. Ships like the Bismarck and Tirpitz soon emerged as icons of German naval ambition, sleek, imposing, and bristling with firepower. They were faster than their predecessors, more heavily armored, and equipped with massive guns capable of devastating enemy vessels at great distances. Their mission was clear: break out into the Atlantic, hunt down Allied convoys, and sever Britain's vital supply lines. These operations were designed to strike at the very heart of Britain's war effort, threatening the flow of food, fuel, and military equipment. The psychological impact of these powerful warships was immense. The mere possibility of their presence forced the Royal Navy to spread its forces thin across vast ocean expanses, constantly on alert for a sudden attack. Even the smaller so-called pocket battleships, like the Admiral Graf Spee, were marvels of engineering. They were designed to outgun any pursuer they might encounter, while still being fast enough to outrun stronger foes. A perfect blend of speed and firepower. These ships could operate independently for months at a time, roaming the world's oceans and disrupting Allied shipping on a global scale. Their ability to strike unexpectedly made them a constant threat, forcing the Allies to divert resources to hunt them down. Germany's naval strategy was built on the idea of quality over quantity. Rather than building a massive fleet, they focused on a handful of powerful, technologically advanced ships, each one intended to maximize disruption and punch far above its weight. The Bismarck and Tirpitz, with their thick armor plating and sophisticated compartmentalized hulls, were engineered to be nearly unsinkable. Their design reflected the latest advances in naval technology, making them formidable opponents in any engagement. The mere existence of these warships tied up vast Allied resources, forcing the British and their allies to dedicate entire fleets and intelligence networks to tracking and countering the German threat. Naval strategy across the Atlantic was shaped by the need to neutralize these powerful adversaries. Winston Churchill, Britain's wartime leader, recognized the existential threat these ships posed to his nation's survival. He personally followed their movements and made their destruction a top priority for the Royal Navy. The power of the German fleet was as much about influence and intimidation as it was about raw firepower. Their presence altered the course of naval warfare and forced both sides to adapt their strategies. These warships marked a bold, audacious, and ultimately doomed bid for naval dominance, a new era of naval power that would leave a lasting legacy on the history of warfare at sea. By 1945, the once mighty Kriegsmarine was finished, its battleships sunk, scuttled, or trapped in port. Crews scuttled their own ships to prevent Allied capture, turning German harbors into graveyards of steel. The Gneisenau was sunk as a block ship. Lutzow and Admiral Scheer were destroyed by bombing. Admiral Graf Spee had already been scuttled off Uruguay in 1939. Surrender followed. Surviving ships like Prinz Eugen and Nürnberg were handed over as war prizes. The era of the German battleship ended not in glory, but in destruction and quiet surrender. The fleet's demise was a final act of defiance and a symbol of total defeat. The Bismarck, Germany's most famous and formidable battleship, embarked on her only mission in May 1941, Operation Rheinübung. She was the pride of the Kriegsmarine, a symbol of German naval ambition, and her very presence struck fear into the hearts of the Allies. Her goal was clear: break into the Atlantic and attack Allied convoys, accompanied by the heavy cruiser Prinz Eugen. If successful, Bismarck could disrupt vital supply lines and threaten Britain's survival. The Royal Navy, forewarned by intelligence and determined to stop her at any cost, assembled a massive force to intercept the German raiders. Ships from across the fleet were mobilized, creating one of the largest naval hunts in history. In the Denmark Strait, Bismarck engaged the British battlecruiser HMS Hood. In a matter of minutes, a shell from Bismarck struck Hood's magazine, causing a catastrophic explosion. The pride of the Royal Navy was lost with nearly all hands. a devastating blow to British morale and a call to action. Damaged herself and leaking fuel from the engagement, Bismarck attempted to escape to occupied France for repairs. But the British, now driven by a desire for vengeance and justice, launched a relentless pursuit across the stormy North Atlantic. Swordfish biplanes from HMS Ark Royal braved fierce weather and enemy fire to launch torpedoes at Bismarck. Against all odds, one torpedo struck a critical blow, jamming Bismarck's rudder and sealing her fate. Crippled and unable to steer, Bismarck was soon surrounded by British battleships. Under a hail of shells and fire, she was pounded into a burning wreck, her crew fighting desperately to save their ship. Bismarck was finally sunk by torpedoes and gunfire. Survivors claimed they scuttled her to avoid capture, but the debate continues to this day. Over 2,000 men went down with the ship. The chase for Bismarck became a legend, an epic tale of determination, sacrifice, and the changing face of naval warfare. It showcased both the power and vulnerability of even the mightiest battleships. Her loss forced Germany to rethink its surface fleet strategy, shifting focus to submarines and smaller vessels as the age of the battleship waned. The Royal Navy's victory was as much about persistence, intelligence, and coordination as it was about firepower. It was a testament to Allied resolve in the darkest days of the war. The Bismarck's brief but dramatic career left an outsized mark on naval history, inspiring books, films, and generations of naval strategists. Her sinking signaled the twilight of the battleship era, as air power and new technology forever changed the nature of naval warfare. Tirpitz, Bismarck's sister ship and Germany's largest battleship, was stationed in the remote Norwegian fjords to threaten the vital Arctic convoys supplying the Soviet Union. Her imposing presence was a constant reminder of German naval power in the north, and her mere existence forced the Allies to divert significant resources to counter her potential threat. For years, the Royal Navy and its allies were compelled to keep powerful fleets in the region, always on alert, just in case Tirpitz ventured out to attack. This strategic stalemate tied down major British naval forces, limiting their ability to operate elsewhere. Determined to eliminate this threat, the British launched a series of daring and innovative attacks. Deploying midget submarines, launching carrier air raids, and eventually sending in heavy bombers. Each operation was meticulously planned, often involving great risk and ingenuity. In 1943, Operation Source saw British X-craft submarines sneak into the fjord and cripple Tirpitz with explosive charges placed beneath her hull, causing severe damage and putting her out of action for months. Despite extensive repairs and constant efforts by German crews to restore her, Tirpitz remained a looming menace, prompting the British to mount even more raids in their relentless campaign. Operation Tungsten and a series of subsequent air attacks inflicted heavy damage, battering her superstructure and killing many crew. But still, the mighty battleship refused to sink. The final blow came in November 1944, when RAF Lancaster bombers, flying at high altitude, dropped massive 12,000-pound tallboy bombs. These powerful weapons pierced Tirpitz's thick armor, causing catastrophic explosions inside the ship. The Tirpitz capsized and sank quickly near Tromsø, trapping hundreds of crew inside. Over 950 sailors lost their lives in the disaster, marking one of the greatest single losses of life in the German Navy. With her destruction, the threat to Allied convoys in the Arctic was finally lifted, allowing vital supplies to reach the Soviet Union without fear of sudden attack. The long campaign against Tirpitz showcased not only Allied ingenuity and determination, but also the evolution of naval warfare, as new tactics and technologies were developed to overcome such a formidable foe. For Germany, the loss of Tirpitz was both a strategic and symbolic disaster, shattering morale and demonstrating the limits of battleship power in the face of air superiority. The enormous resources spent keeping her afloat, manpower, materials, and time, ultimately far outweighed her actual impact on the war, draining Germany's ability to fight elsewhere. The fate of the Tirpitz underscored the vulnerability of even the mightiest battleships to air power, signaling a new era in naval strategy where aircraft would dominate the seas. Today, the wreck of Tirpitz lies beneath the cold waters of Norway, a haunting memorial to those who served aboard her, and a stark reminder of how quickly the face of naval warfare can change. Germany's pocket battleships like Admiral Graf Spee were innovative treaty-busting warships, fast, well-armed, and long-ranged, Graf Spee hunted Allied shipping in the South Atlantic, sinking 9 vessels without loss of life. The Royal Navy finally cornered her at the Battle of the River Plate in December 1939. Damaged and deceived by British intelligence, Captain Langsdorff scuttled Graf Spee in Montevideo rather than risk his crew. He took his own life days later, a tragic end to a dramatic campaign. These commerce raiders forced the Allies to divert resources across the globe. Their exploits were brief but disruptive, highlighting the limitations of surface raiders. The era of the pocket battleship ended as quickly as it began. Scharnhorst and Gneisenau, Germany's first post-WWI capital ships, were fast, well-armored, and effective commerce raiders. Nicknamed the Ugly Sisters, they operated together, striking Allied shipping and evading British pursuit. Their most daring feat was the 1942 Channel Dash, sailing through the English Channel in daylight, evading British attacks. Both ships survived the dash, but Gneisenau was later crippled by bombing and scuttled. Scharnhorst joined Tirpitz in Norway, but met her end attacking an Arctic convoy in 1943. In the Battle of the North Cape, Scharnhorst was sunk by HMS Duke of York and escorts. Only 36 survived. The Ugly Sisters' careers were marked by boldness and eventual destruction. Their loss further weakened Germany's surface fleet. Their story is a testament to the risks and limits of surface raiders in a changing war. The age of the battleship was ending, replaced by air power and submarines. After Germany's surrender, the Allies divided the surviving warships among themselves. The Potsdam Agreement split the fleet between the US, UK, and Soviet Union. Ships like Prince Eugen and Nuremberg became prize trophies, studied for their advanced technology. The Soviets gained prestige and rebuilt their navy. The Western Allies learned from German engineering. Captured U-boats, especially the advanced Type 21, revolutionized post-war submarine design. The division of the fleet shaped Cold War naval development. German technology left a lasting legacy on navies worldwide. Many surviving German warships became test subjects for the atomic age. Prince Eugen was sent to Bikini Atoll for nuclear tests, surviving 2 blasts but left highly radioactive. She eventually capsized and sank, her wreck a ghostly relic of the nuclear era. Other ships like Tirpitz and Admiral Scheer were scrapped for steel to rebuild post-war Europe. Salvage teams dismantled these giants, turning weapons of war into tools for peace. The steel from these ships helped reconstruct a shattered continent. The final fate of Germany's battleships was practical, not glorious. Their remains are reminders of both destruction and renewal. The destruction of Germany's battleships marked the end of an era. The Kriegsmarine's strategy of powerful surface raiders failed against Allied numbers and air power. Post-war, Germany's navy was reborn as a defensive force. No more grand battleships. The real victory at sea came through Kein Dienstag and En Vivo Bersabois, code-breaking and air superiority. The stories of Bismarck, Tirpitz, and Graf Spee endure as cautionary tales and symbols of technological ambition. Their wrecks are war graves and underwater museums, reminders of a vanished age. The battleship's reign ended, making way for carriers and submarines as the new rulers of the seas.